Well, well, well. Welcome to Capecast. Hey, boys, how are you doing tonight?
Hi.
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Got Britt back on the pod. Brett, I don't have a drop, but Alan, I do have a drop for you.
Alan.
Britt, I can figure out something that's good for you. I had an idea. There's not a lot of people named Britt, for one.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
there's that. I have a few drops that I could edit that have Brett in the title. And it's kind of a running joke anyway that a lot of people call you Brett just because, you know, Britt isn't a common name. And so they think your name's Brett. So I have some things, but I'm just not 100% on what I should do yet. But I'm going to get something. I'm going to get something unique for you.
No worry.
Anyway, appreciate you guys jumping on. Ryan's a little late tonight, so he'll be hopping on here shortly, I hope. But how's everybody doing? Doing okay?
Good.
Alan,
Good.
how's your week been?
School started today, so a little hectic, but yeah, going good.
Yeah, nice. Britt, how about yourself? What do we owe the pleasure of you being able to join us tonight?
Doing good on this side. The wife is a little under the weather, so she's upstairs asleep, and the little one's already down, and I got a free night, so we're hanging out.
Nice.
So,
well, welcome. Glad you could jump on. I like your shirt.
Oh yeah, you know what? And this is not just to suck up or anything. This is seriously one of the most comfortable shirts I have in my closet. So
that's good.
Love wearing it. So,
well, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, those what is it? Tri-ply. I can't remember what we selected for those shirts, but yeah, those are quite comfy. So that is the point. So at least you have something, even if you don't like it. Yeah, it's at least comfortable. So,
oh yeah.
All right. Well, since Ryan's not here, I'll go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. If my internet freezes up, then I guess Britt and Alan are going to take over the show, and they'll just handle it from here on out until Ryan gets here. So it's very likely that it will mess up, but we'll see. Hopefully, say a prayer for me. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We are part of the Cinemachine Network, which we go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9. We try to. Sometimes we're a little late, like tonight. So, but anyway, you can find everything that revolves around Cinemachine at cinemachinepod.com. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell here on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and now on Patreon. Just search at Cinemachine Pod, and you can find us on all those platforms. So, with that out of the way. Man, there's so much. So here's the thing. We've been doing this for, we've had this like 2-week period where we had some weird timing, some different shows. We had the Suicide Squad thing that popped up, so we had to do a Thursday show. So we didn't do actual like news episodes. So and then last week my internet was out, and so we couldn't even record. So we've got like 2 weeks worth of news. So we've got a lot of stuff to go over. But last week Ryan and I did a like bonus episode that we put out on Friday where we talked about our top 10 DCEU movies. Now, we already told Alan that he would be able to share that tonight. Britt didn't know that you were coming on, so I'm sure you're going to be off the cuff. But feel free to give at least like your top 4 or 5 if you can think of any. Now, I will just to reiterate what is out there for you, Britt, because I know you're super MCU, so you might not even be aware of all the DCEU movies.
Not at all. I thought there was just like 2 movies. So apparently there's a bunch. So.
Okay, well, let me go through them for you. So you've got Man of Steel, BVS, the first Suicide Squad with no "the." You've got Wonder Woman. You got Justice League. You got Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, Zack Snyder's Justice League, then the Suicide Squad. And before we get into that, somebody wants to intrude. And I don't like you being over here, so you're going to move over here. This feels better.
You can't handle the pressure of the number 1 spot?
I don't like it. I feel more comfortable in the number 2. I can do it too.
Good. So what did I miss? What's going on?
Well,
how's everybody? Britt, it's good to see you.
Yeah, I'm here, man. Just chilling out.
What is this background?
Good being back. You should.
That's his house.
You should know what this is. My chair isn't moving.
Got it.
There you go. There you go.
A little
Brits in New York.
There you go.
Yep. I'm waiting for Spider-Man to knock on the door. Peter's on his way over. So
Nice.
we'll see.
Good.
We'll see in a little bit.
Love it.
So, Alan, since we weren't able to record with you, you want to like give the rundown of your top 10 or maybe your top 5, whichever.
I actually don't have. I mean, I gave
Yeah.
them to Ryan, but
do your top 5. How about you just do that? Just do your
top
top 5
5?
for the people.
Okay.
What's more
well,
interesting,
yeah.
your top 5 or your least favorite 5?
the bottom. Well, see, the thing is, I actually finished watching you guys breakdown of yours, and so the Justice League was not in mine. That movie doesn't exist. So
Nice. That's how I was. Brandon made me put it in there.
and then the Wonder Woman 84 was at the bottom, but and then I pretty much I actually bumped I had Aquaman at number 5 until it would have been my number 5 until I watched the Suicide Squad, and I put it at 5. And then Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And then
I guess I can get the next 3.
yeah, I guarantee you'll know those. But actually, it's a little different order than you guys. But I had BVS at 3. Man of Steel had been my number 1 forever, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League took number 1.
Nice.
That was it.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Britt, unless you just want to go through your top, you don't have to. I know we're putting you on the spot here. You could do like your favorite and your least favorite. That would be interesting.
Marvel movies.
I've got a few on here. So I mean, if I'm looking at it, like there's a couple that I like, and I don't know my exact order yet. I'd have to really sit down, but definitely probably my top 6 or so, no particular order, and then I'll talk about a couple just real quick. So of course, I do think that Zack Snyder Justice League is at the top, whether it's 1 or 2, not sure yet, but
I believe you.
So that one is definitely up there. And then I do have Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman up there. I enjoyed what Zack Snyder was trying to do, coming from the Marvel world and everything being comic booky, being more on the comedic side as they got into Guardians and stuff. I like that DC kind of went this dark route, and I know some fans didn't like that, but I like the realistic tones. And I know Man of Steel, some people have problems with pieces, but I like the fact that they tried to bring Superman down to like a normal person. Like, what would a kid do with these kind of powers and stuff? And then, so those are kind of a block for me, like those 3. Then the other ones I really like are Shazam and the Suicide Squad. Those are probably the other 2 I like. They're more the comedy. They feel a little different than the other ones. And I probably have that as kind of my top 5. Not to take away from Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I liked what they did. Not so much Wonder Woman 84, but the original Wonder Woman. I did like a lot of pieces in it. But again, I would say those are kind of my top 5 in there. And I don't really know off the top of my head like where I'd put that Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad and Shazam compared to the Zack Snyder stuff. But
yeah,
those are where I'm at with it.
I knew we liked
you can stay.
Reason.
Yeah, you're welcome to stay now. So, thanks.
I picking all the worst ones and then just be like, the Sweden verse. We're gonna go there first.
Oh my gosh, huge Birds of Prey fan, huge.
Well, yeah, if you haven't checked out Ron and I's top 10, it's over 2 hours, so there's plenty of content for you to dive into if you haven't already.
We were at 2 hours and 15 minutes. 1 minute too long.
1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute too long. Would have been 2:14 for all you Snyder fans out there. Anyway, but yeah, Ryan, that was pretty much it. We did intros, talked about our week a little bit, and we're talking about gearing up for Alan's top 10 and Brits. So
cool.
Yeah. So that's where we are. But yeah, I was just saying that we've got a big list of news.
Yeah, we've done some like non-typical or atypical shows the last couple of weeks. So the news is kind of stacked up. We went through and like tried to like throw stuff out that wasn't as important, but we still have a pretty loaded docket. So
yes,
as usual, we'll start with all the DC stuff first because everyone here, including Britt, knows it's the best, right? Britt.
Yep. Sure.
All right. Speaking of the Suicide Squad, there was some talk that kind of emerged after the movie came out. Apparently, there's been discussions with James Gunn about continuing doing other DC projects. We don't know what those projects are, but was just curious what y'all's thoughts are in general. Obviously, Britt, you said you're a huge Suicide Squad fan. Anything in particular that you would be interested in seeing him tackle?
What happened to your background?
I mean,
Britt?
it's
Starro.
switching around. We'll see what happens with the backgrounds. But
The King Shark down there. Look at him.
yep, they're fighting Starro over there. No, I mean, the thing is, I like that they went just a different feel. And to be honest, Suicide Squad, I think if they would have, and I know we're talking about this a little bit later, but I think if they would have kind of let them do what they wanted to do, we would have had a potentially similar feeling movie within that. And so, I want to see James Gunn do more. I don't necessarily know if I'm looking forward or not to the Peacemaker series. Again, I'll watch it. It'll be there, but it's not something like has me hyped about it. But I'm interested at this point. If they're going to distance themselves from the Zack Snyder stuff, as we've been kind of seeing, then I want them to go a totally different path. I don't want them to go the Wonder Woman path that they've been with Wonder Woman 84. I don't want them to do that kind of stuff. They just need to take a branch and just like exactly what they did with the Suicide Squad. Sure, there could have been some stuff that was a little bit better with the movie, but it's a new feel, and that's what they need to do. So
if Steve Trevor shows up in Wonder Woman 3, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, please God.
You're gonna get that Chris Pine money.
Right. Brandon or Alan, anything in particular? Are you excited or not excited about more James Gunn stuff?
Alan, you go for it.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the Suicide Squad. It dethroned Aquaman for me for number 5 on my list. So I did enjoy it. I don't know how I'd feel about that same tone with, well, I know I wouldn't like it with the Superman movie, but if he were to take a stab at Gotham City Sirens or something like that with Harley in it, because he did do a good job with Harley in that movie. So I don't know. Maybe I could see something like that, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on what the project is. I know that Walter Amato said that they had more stuff planned, and Gunn obviously already has Peacemaker, that series for HBO Max coming out, which I'm not super interested in. He was probably the character that I least wanted to see more of out of the bunch personally, but
I mean, did you see the Toddy Whiteys? You saw plenty of them.
Yeah, I've seen everything I needed to see. Okay, nothing more, nothing to see. It just depends on what the project is. Now, I know a lot of people have floated the idea of him doing like a Justice League, new Justice League or whatever. I don't want that to happen with anybody but Zack Snyder.
Even if Zack Snyder wasn't involved, that's the last thing I want to see is James Gunn do a Justice League movie.
I could see him do more like the Young Justice League or something, like where it's different enough. Yeah. But I still think, to your point, Alan, like I still think it's that villain based whatever kind of comedy. Like he would do really well. I mean, again, that's what he did, but I don't see that same tone transferring over to a lot of your main DC characters, and it like working.
This is kind of the sandbox that I think he needs to play in.
Like give him elongated man, or something like that.
Yeah.
Something funny. Something
any kind of like irreverent property would suit him.
So also speaking of Suicide Squad, we learned why Amanda Waller put Flag on the distraction team at the beginning of the Suicide Squad, and it kind of irks me for 2 reasons. And the explanation is here, or this is what the explanation is. We see a flashback. This is something they filmed but it didn't make the cut. we see a flashback of where Rick Flag makes fun of Amanda Waller's shirt. It's a really ugly shirt with all these different colors on it. And he says, it looks like a group of clowns, S-word, Al, all over you. And you can just see the death in Viola Davis's face. She just looks like death. And that's why Flag is on that beach. First off, sounds like we got a little meddling going on, possibly, given track record. But second off, it just doesn't fit. This doesn't necessarily fit Flag's character to me.
I mean, I could see it fitting. I could see it fitting Waller, but not Flag. You know, if it was Captain Boomerang making fun of her shirt, yeah, I could see her sending him out, you know, to do that. But
I just don't see. He's just I just like him being more the straight man, and than like, I don't know. I don't see her. She knows what, or he knows what she'll do.
Yeah,
I don't see him pushing her buttons.
I was just gonna say, I don't necessarily see it as meddling. I mean, I feel like James Gunn got to do what he wanted to with this movie. I don't think he had many, kind of strings attached to him.
You know,
well, I just, to me, it just comes across as something that they just felt like made the movie drag, and the movie already drags a little bit in parts, so I can see them cutting that for time. But
I mean, I think
it's typical like James Gunn humor. I don't think it fits. Well, here's the thing. The characterizations of these characters in this version of the Suicide Squad are a little more like comical and outlandish. Mm-hmm. So for Waller to be upset over Flag, for one, making like Flag, I don't think would make fun of her shirt, period. It just doesn't seem of his character. But again, most of these characters in this movie are a more exaggerated version of themselves that we've seen. And even the actors have kind of said that they did some new approaches. Like, Kinnaman said he did a different approach for Flag. I just hate it. Well, and that's kind of the problem to me with and I like this movie, but if I had to like nitpick it, a lot of these characters just seem like James Gunn's. They all feel like a James Gunn, like them reading James Gunn's words, like instead of them being individual people that would make these types of, jokes or whatever on their own. They all just feel like the same kind of person spouting off the same joke.
I don't know. I almost wish they would have like just switched all the characters in general. I know that they killed a bunch of people off and all that, but
100% agree. 100%.
It gets confusing when you're reusing Harley and you're using and I get it. They're using these characters that are money and they can bank on the movie. But yeah, I wish they would have changed a lot. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it too. Like Idris Elba's character, like it was Will Smith's character and they just recast him. Like it,
Yes, exactly.
So it's one of those things where I just wish they would have been like, hey, we're getting all new characters and, we're going to do this a little different, but I get it. The 2 or 3 they brought back were just money characters. So
it's the whole, we talked about it a little bit on the review episode, but I can't do the 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing. Like, seeing characters that have been treated one way in movies and then they come back and they're just, like, I mean, Joel Kinnaman said it himself. Like when he read the script, he basically talked to James Gunn and he was like, I feel like I have to play this as a completely different character from the first one. And he was cool with that. But I'm just not, It bothers me.
Well, I mean, even things that I found funny, like I've talked about a lot of Bloodsport's humor, like a lot of his humor I found funny, but also felt like it was a departure from earlier scenes in the movie. Like I just didn't feel like that character would utter those types of lines and that have that kind of humor.
And that's what I mean. Like the Rick Flag that fought Peacemaker near the end, when he dies, that was Rick Flag. Like he was pissed off. He was trying to do the right thing. He wasn't cracking jokes or anything. You know what I mean? Like it was that was Rick Flag. The other stuff earlier on, it just
look at that lovely lady.
Look who it is. Little Katie Chris man.
That is a good point.
Shot on her YouTube.
Good point.
This is my wife, everybody. She says
Ryan?
I took Flag's changes to be the result of hanging out with the Suicide Squad more, and I can see that.
Seems like you should listen to your wife a little more. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'd all learn that lesson.
pretty smart.
Speaking
I can
of,
see that though. I can see that.
speaking of the Rick Flag Peacemaker thing, I didn't even realize this until somebody pointed it out on Twitter or I don't remember. Maybe it was a podcast to listen to, but the whole Peacemaker, what a joke line is a Watchmen reference because Peacemaker he's based off of, or the comedian is based off of Peacemaker.
Yeah.
And that was a direct reference. And I just didn't even think about it. Didn't think about it at all.
I didn't until you said it. I knew I knew that he was inspired by Peacemaker, but I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
that line was kind of.
There's a lot of, and I think that's one thing James Gunn does pretty well in a lot of his movies. There's a lot of like hidden references and things. I mean, supposedly there's a Guardians character somewhere in the movie that Mantis, nobody's found yet. So
Mantis it's Mantis. She's on the she's dancing with the girls at the bar. I mean, she doesn't have her antenna, but she's there.
Yeah. Well, we also had another little nugget. James Gunn revealed that at one point early on, he was considering sending the squad up against Superman, but was ultimately replaced by Starro, obviously. Maybe WB told him that we got a video game coming out that is going to tackle that. So
yeah, well, that was my first thought. I mean, that's why I pulled this actual screenshot for this story, was because that is what the video game storyline is. So,
yeah.
Ryan, what do you think about this?
The Starro thing was kind of the weakness of this movie for me, like the most glaring weakness. We talked about it also a little bit, where it kind of felt like they were trying to make him like a sympathetic villain, but it was kind of just a throwaway attempt. I don't know. I honestly find the Enchantress a lot more compelling of a villain than Starro. Obviously, we know everyone's got their issues with that take or that performance, but and the Joker being in the mix in the first one too.
Well, maybe if Starro had a dancing sequence, we'd feel different.
You think?
Yeah, maybe so.
But look, if it meant Superman coming back, Henry Cavill coming back, I'd be all for it. Whatever.
Well, that's the thing, though. The comment that he made was they weren't sure what they were doing with Superman and who Superman was, and how infuriating is that? It's like the most WB statement, like as far as the state of WB.
We don't know what we're doing with our main league.
Well, I guess the other part would be, I guess they'd either have to cut out the whole part of he was doing time for the kryptonite bullet, or you would just see that at the end of being, how they take him down. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
they could have went the Shazam route, and instead of cutting his head off with the camera, he could have been taken over by Starro and had a starfish on his face, and nobody would have known who he was.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Had to.
I think you're very quickly falling in love with that draft.
Exactly.
At least on Cavecast. You don't really see it as much on Cinemachine. There's not much agreeing going on Cinemachine.
No, definitely not. Not on that one. Well, I've always loved that. So
yeah. Well, we also had, kind of staying in the Suicide Squad vein, there was a big trend event this past week for David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad, the hashtag release the Ayer cut. I think they ended up over the weekend with like 600, on Twitter at least, with like 620 some thousand tweets. But it was trending for the majority of the day of the event. It was interesting because there were there were a lot of script leaks that made the rounds on Twitter from the Release the Ayer cut Twitter account. And it was interesting. Some of it was, I really want to see that. And some of it was, that's some interesting dialogue.
I like to think that this is a slightly off topic, but I like to think that this this behind the scenes photo of Air and Margot is the direction that Air is giving is the baby shark. Do, 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 do. That's what he's doing.
It's like so in the Suicide Squad, there's going to be a shark character.
Yeah, that's the sequel. The Suicide Squad.
We plan these things out way in advance.
Yeah,
real organized. Brandon, what were your thoughts? We kind of shot some tweets back and forth, but we didn't really talk about the dialogue specifically. And I know we
Air
kind of discussed
or
do what
about Air's comments, his final words, or just the trending event.
The script leaks, the dialogue that was, some of it was.
Here's the thing. Here's my stance on this movie. I definitely want to see this movie, and I feel like I will prefer this version. I know I will prefer this version over the theatrical. Just based on the initial outset tone that was put out with that trailer at Comic-Con, that little sizzle reel thing. That's the kind of movie that I wanted. Now, even before this script stuff came out, I've kind of held that David Ayer's sensibilities in terms of script writing is not necessarily something that I feel like that appeals to my sensibilities. And a lot of this script kind of, I guess, furthered that in terms of that opinion of mine. I'm sorry. I know we have young David Ayer in the bottom corner over here, and I don't mean to offend you, sir. But some of the stuff is interesting as far as story beats, but a lot of the dialogue itself, and to be fair, this script was supposedly written in like 7 or 8 weeks, so it was a pretty quick turnaround. So I give him that, but it's just not as strong as I would like it to be. Just on you think about like a Chris Terrio script that we're so accustomed to with the Snyder stuff, or get David Goyer script or whatever it is. And it's a lot more methodical,
more rich.
And just rich. And every word has meaning. And instead of like, I live in sewers, y'all just tourists or stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff is like that. It's just like sea level. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
It's just not my jam.
No, I get you.
So
it was very hot and cold for me. There were some that I read where I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and that included some context for some, like you're saying, story beats that looked a lot more compelling than what we got. But just some of the hard dialogue.
Trust me,
I was like,
I feel bad criticizing David Ayer because I do really like him as a person. Like he seems like he's a super stand-up guy, and he takes everything on the chin. So I don't like being critical of him, but it's just not my style.
Yeah.
Right on.
I don't know. For me, it's just one of those things. When me and Brandon were talking about this a while back, like I would have loved to see what it would have been prior to all the cuts and stuff. But outside of Zack Snyder's Justice League, like outside of that one, there's so many movies that come back to say, hey, here's a director's cut, right? Here's some changes or whatever. And I just haven't seen many movies where people actually go back and watch it outside of Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? Like, I mean, we had Rogue's Cut with X-Men, we had the Ultimate Edition with Batman vs Superman, and just some other pieces in there, right? And like, there's so many people that are just like, well, it's the same movie, but extra minutes. And so, unless it was like a totally different movie, I don't know if I would even take the time to go back and watch it, because at this point we've already moved on. And again, it's a little different than what we got with a 2-hour movie going to a 4-hour movie, compared to just, going back and adding a few scenes and maybe giving a little bit more character to someone who we've already written out of the universe anyway. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think that I agree with you. Like, if this movie comes out it's not going to touch the performance of Zack Snyder's Justice. This will be technically the third Suicide Squad movie that's come out. I think for me specifically, it's just kind of like my last ditch effort at like getting something that was in that zone of, you know, DC stuff that I liked so much.
Yeah. And it will be, I mean, it's not going to be a night and day difference like Snyder Cut, but it will be a lot different, especially when you're talking about editing and then also a lot of the scenes that didn't make it in the movie that were even in trailers, especially the Joker stuff. I just feel like there's a lot of
Al's in the chat.
Yeah, thanks, Al.
You look great, Brandon. You look great.
Sure. I got one bar. I keep getting the low internet warning. I'm hotspotting. Thanks, Paladin.
I can honestly say I've only seen you pixelate up once. So,
well, that's because I'm hotspotting from my phone and not using my shitty internet. Beep. Sorry.
Al's mad.
And he's in the chat. He's in the chat. You've done it now.
The one time he tunes in is the one time you curse.
I'm gonna get scolded later. No, Daddy, no. But anyway, I do want to see it, and especially when you hear things like "there's no needle drops," like that, and that's, you know, I want to hear the score. Like they wrote an entire score that's not really in that movie. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah. It's true. So it looks like you got something queued up there. You're gonna expand your Hot Toys collection there, Brandon?
Well, I'm not. I was just curious if you are. They're finally putting out a Cyborg.
I have 0 Hot Toys right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Sold them all, eh?
I did.
You graduated to the quarter scale, third scale. Yeah,
I do have a couple more Hot Toys coming though that I'm going to keep. So the Black Suit and Nightmare Batman, but that's all right.
Well,
it does look like a cool toy.
The story is that they finally are putting out the Cyborg Hot Toys. I wish they would put out the DC Collectibles one that they never did, apparently, or maybe they did in a very, very, very limited release because I can't find it. So
yeah, I've seen like one of those on eBay for like $400.
Yeah,
so somebody probably like stole it off the display at Comic-Con or something.
That's for sure. It's a lot of guacamole, but you know,
right.
It is cool that he's finally getting a hot toy. So
for sure. We did get a little bit of positive original DCEU-ish news with J.K. Simmons in talks to potentially return as Commissioner Gordon in the new Batgirl movie on HBO Max. It's so funny. And anything like this that has any like remote ties directly to Snyder stuff, I like get this like just great internal joy whenever I see it. It's so irrational.
Well, my initial feeling is, how are they going to F this up, even though it's good news?
That's good. You're trained well, I guess. But
I'm a beat dog, you know. I keep coming back. Yeah.
He's gonna have
I mean, it's exciting. I love J.K. Simmons, and you know, it was a very limited amount of screen time in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I think he's perfect for Gordon. Yeah. And I would love to see that furthered. So I think it's such a wasted bit of casting if they don't, you know, expand upon that. So I'm glad that that is hopefully happening.
Yeah, Alan or Britt, are you in general, I guess, because I don't know if we've talked about the Batgirl show.
Britt's like, no, he's J. Jonah Jameson. That's it.
That's it.
He's like, if he doesn't come with a crew cut, I don't want any part of it.
No, I mean, I haven't really watched any of the all the CW stuff. I fell off on those shows long ago. So when they got into Batgirl and stuff. So as far as the movies go, I mean, I don't know. I want to see more DC stuff.
Batwoman, Britt. That's Batwoman.
Okay, sorry.
Batgirl's going to be on HBO Max. Marvel guys, killing me.
You know, I got the HBO Max. We're watching random stuff, but I don't know. Like, to me, it's those things where, like, I'll see it when it comes out, but at the same time, I'm hoping, just like you guys, I'm hoping they can figure out what they're going to do with this universe, because it's about to get real confusing when Robert Pattinson's Batman comes out, and then we've got the other stuff going on. Like, I don't know. I'm confused. So, maybe when and at this point, I'm just taking it for what it is, right? There was news that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is going to get a potential sequel. So I don't know.
I read it was an interesting article that Stephen Colbert. I always want to say Colbert. Put up on Screen Rant today talking about this stuff. Just kind of how WB learned like all the wrong lessons from Justice League, or BVS and everything preceding it. And it's just funny. They want this. Looks like one of your friends may be in the chat here.
Yeah, he is. What's up, Mackie?
But I don't know. It's interesting because they decided to go on this whole like, we're gonna tell detached story, like the Suicide Squad type storylines, Wonder Woman 84 type storylines, and essentially asking people to or expecting people to have bought into something that doesn't even really exist, like a continuity that doesn't even exist. Because they don't have the patience to finish it out. And how it's kind of biting them in the butt now at the box office. But anyways, but back to Batgirl.
Well, it's like I said, I'm excited for the potential of some sort of resemblance of the thing I love. So, depending on what that ends up looking like, I'll weigh in on later. But
he'll have a CG'd mustache or something.
Oh boy.
I mean, it could be fun. Like I think that the only thing, if you look at the continuity, I think one of the ways you have to fix that is kind of figure out where do you trim, where do you cut, and where do you go from there. So it makes sense going down a Batgirl route if they're not going to bring back, Ben Affleck. I know he's going to be in the Flash movie and stuff like that, but if they really do decide to go a different way with the actual universe, it makes sense to do that. I just don't know how strong that is. I feel like your core Justice League are your strongest DC characters in the universe. And so when you start to go out, and you have that first ring where you're hitting your Green Lantern and I would even kind of say Flash in that second ring. You have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman in the first, then you kind of go out, Martian Manhunter kind of is in that ring 2, ring 3. But then when you start getting to Batgirl and that, you're at ring 4, ring 5. And so I don't know. And that's where it lost me with a lot of the CW stuff when I was watching it long ago, is just when they started getting to the obscure stuff, I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore.
Well, they don't have a foundation right now. So it's just like throw stuff against a wall and see what sticks, and most of it doesn't stick. So then they just change their strategy every time that they fail, and they fail every time. So here we are in the cycle.
Here we are.
Alan, you have any thoughts?
No, I mean, similar to Brandon's, I'm it's like a whip dog. Every time somebody raises their hand, I don't know if they're trying to pet me or hit me in the head. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't know. I mean, I hope it's good. I would love to see it continue on. To your point, even crap sticks to the wall every now and then. You have no idea what you're going to get with these guys. So
right,
not a whole lot.
Speaking of C-level characters, we've got a Blue Beetle show coming to HBO Max, and we've got our leading guy. I'm gonna say Xolo Maridueña. Nani can correct me on that if that's incorrect.
It's pronounced Guzman. I think it's pronounced Guzman, Ryan.
Yes. He was watching.
Somebody watches.
I love it. Luis Guzman.
Why are you the way that you are?
I nailed it. Nani told me I nailed it. Al also said I nailed it. Good night.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Britt.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. I mean, are these series supposed to be better than the Titans? Like,
As far as production, what do you mean?
I mean,
Better?
just like, so, like, again, with Titans being on HBO Max, I know the first 2 seasons kind of weren't right, but the 3rd season, that was kind of done with HBO Max in mind, and I mean, to me, it feels like maybe a better CW show, but it still doesn't feel like what we see.
No.
And again, I don't want to compare it to MCU, and I don't want to compare it to all the Disney Plus stuff going on. But like, are we expecting? Right,
MCU is way better. I'm sorry, I could not do the Titans thing, Alan. I tried, man. I tried. I saw some.
I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it anymore with you, Ryan.
Like, I know that Swamp Thing was done very well, right? And it kind of didn't get its whole run that they really wanted to do. But I'm just curious, when you're going out to these, C-level, D-level characters like Blue Beetle, like, there may be some kids that know Blue Beetle because he did show up in a lot of the cartoons a few years ago that these, kids are coming off of. But yeah, I don't see how they expect that to do very well when they could have easily went out to some of the other characters or just redid Titans maybe in a different way. I don't know. Like,
and he could, I mean, we don't know. He could be connected to the Titans. It could be like an origin story for him and end up being in that show eventually anyway. But
yeah. I liked him. I'm not super familiar with the character other than what I did see in Young Justice, which I liked. Again, it's just
he's fun to play as in the Injustice video games. That's my only connection to him.
Yeah.
I just want to see him. I just want to see him compete in the All Valley tournament. Let's see how that goes.
Alan, you watched Cobra Kai, correct?
Yeah.
So you have at least an association with the actor.
He is Miguel. I don't care what other character he plays when I see him on TV. Oh, there's Miguel. Hey, Miguel, look at Miguel. But no, he's service. Michael.
Miguel.
His acting has progressed as the shows went on. I'm interested to see season 4 and see how he does on there. But I like him. He's a good kid. He seems genuinely excited for the role. And I will say that it seems like Warner Brothers and DC are at least casting people who are genuinely excited to play these roles. So maybe that'll translate, so I don't know.
So did you guys pick up your 89 comic, Batman 89? Anybody? No, Al did.
I have not yet.
No.
That really died.
I haven't found a bunch of comic stores out this way, but like a bunch of them shut down. So not too many places out here to find one.
Gotcha. Well, there's a story this past week about them doing a villain series, and Danny DeVito is actually pinning the one that's Penguin centric, which is interesting, pretty cool. I know a lot of, for whatever reason, I didn't even realize this until the last couple of years, but the cultural overall opinion seems to be that people don't like Batman Returns, and I don't understand it. Like, I love Batman Returns.
Yeah,
I agree.
But for whatever reason, it seems like it's like the popular thing to hate on Batman Returns now. But be that as it may, I love it, and I loved his Penguin portrayal. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the Penguin centric.
That was the first movie I remember, the first comic book movie I remember going and seeing as a kid. I was on a 4-H trip or whatever and went and saw it. Yeah.
I mean, I prefer it. I know this is probably sacrilegious. I prefer it over 89 personally. I do.
No,
it's the truth.
I do too.
I agree with you, actually. I think we talked about that we reviewed that one on Cinema Machine.
I still like 89, but I just like
everybody here loves Batman Returns.
Good. We're in good company.
I am curious, Brandon, with the Batman podcast, real quick. Like, what are you guys thinking of it? I mean, there's a bunch of like you have in the notes and stuff. There's a bunch of people that have been signed to it, but like, what are your thoughts on a podcast with it, and how do you think it'll do? Because honestly, I don't know when it's coming out, but I really hope it's sometime like middle of next year at the earliest, because I feel like right now with a lot of people not driving to work, podcasts are just going to suffer a little bit. You know, I know there's still some people that drive to work, but there's a lot of people.
Speak for yourself,
right
Britt.
now.
I've been driving to work since August.
I know people luxury back on the road, but yeah, I'm just
you're living in a bubble, bro. Everybody's working. Everybody's driving. Get out of your bubble. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. I don't know what to think.
I'll go back to my sanctum.
There you go. I haven't listened to any kind of narrative podcast or even a like book on tape or whatever they're called now. What do they call it? Audiobooks now?
Audible. Yeah, audiobook.
So I don't know what to really expect, but I do like the cast. Jeffrey Wright, Rosario Dawson, anything. She's done. I don't know who she's playing in this, but I know she's done the voice for Wonder Woman. I wish. Tell me where to find it. I've been looking for it for a while. But
I've gotten into. I've actually speaking of audiobooks, it's probably the place to talk about it. I listened to the Sandman, Neil Gaiman, stories or graphic novels that he did. Freaking great. I don't know. It was the first time I'd ever really Katie listens to the Harry Potter audiobooks and whatnot, but it's the first time I ever sat down and really actually listen to one. If you guys have any interest, you should check it out. It's an amazing cast, voice cast and everything. But then also, I was looking up the other day the Andy Serkis Lord of the Rings narration that he's going to do, and apparently I had no idea. Apparently he'd already done The Hobbit, so I just got. He
did it. I think he did it over quarantine, as a promotional thing.
Nice. I'm so excited to listen to it.
It was like a some sort of fundraising type thing, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. He did it.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm stoked about that. I just downloaded it. I'm gonna start listening to that. But...
No.
Anyways, Britt, what do you think? We want to talk a little bit of Marvel stuff. We can talk some.
All right, we'll get to the Marvel.
Britt pulls his chair up and straightens his tie.
We're good.
This is your moment. So we finally got a Hawkeye first look. Little thing here. What are any initial reactions? Obviously, we'll start with Britt. Maybe finish with Britt too. Who knows?
I don't know. I think Hawkeye is probably one of the series I'm kind of least looking forward to. I think it'll be good. I mean, at this point, we've already seen through all the Disney Plus shows, they're kind of handing over the mantles of all these big characters. The OG Avengers are stepping out. So at this point,
I love that Britt's least looking forward to a series. He still thinks it'll probably be good though. He's still so optimistic. It must be nice. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of you, Britt.
It's a setup, right? I mean, we're working towards
interested in this thing, but it's gonna be good. I know.
Everything we say that's mean, Britt, it's just know that we love you, and it's just because we're hurt inside.
Yeah, it's just jealousy.
You wish that every DC you're like, it could be good. Blue Beetle, it's gonna be awesome.
Can't wait to see how they F that one up.
Yeah, no, it's one of those after watching Black Widow and kind of seeing the setup there. We're gonna see where they go with it, but I have a feeling we're gonna see that crossover there and the setup of this new, whether it's two new teams or it's one new team with either the Young Avengers or with the why am I blanking on the name here, the Thunderbolts. So we're gonna see something within that, but I don't know. Again, Hawkeye's never really been my favorite character. I think the Ronin aspect's pretty interesting if they go down that route, but yeah, we'll see. Another casting of his daughter though. So we're on the third version of of some different people in the series. So that one, feels a little strange like we've seen with other characters, but
true.
I don't know.
Ryan Rivera's in the house. What's up,
I think the Haley Steinfeld casting is good though. She's super solid. So
Yeah.
Be interesting to see. And unfortunately, Chris is not here, but Chris is, they still just trying to get Chris into the show.
He got another email. They keep trying to get him to stand in for Jeremy Renner. He just won't do it. He's holding out for more cash, probably. That's probably what's
yeah. For those of you that don't know, Chris, if you're new to the Cape Cast, Chris is a buddy of ours, and he was for a little stint. He was doing extra work for mostly Marvel productions.
Yeah, he was in Black Panther and
Civil War.
Yeah.
And yeah, so back before they started filming Hawkeye, they emailed him a couple times to be a stand-in for Jeremy Renner, and he turned it down because he's got a full-time job now. And then like 2 weeks ago, he got another email for the same thing. For like, I guess they're doing pickups or something.
It says on the thing like stand-in Clint.
Yeah. So he's just so sought after. There's not a lot of short people apparently that are in the extras department on their list. So Chris is like the go-to guy.
Short brown hair. Let's get him.
Yeah. They probably have to get somebody who's even a little shorter than the actor just to help the actor's self-esteem as they're performing. Like,
that's probably true.
My turn.
Yeah. Anyway, since he's not here, let's go ahead and run this because I miss him.
Chris!
I'll pick you up at noon.
Chris!
Awesome, I'm busy!
I'm busy, stupid dick!
Never gets old.
Miss you, Chris.
Trying to get him on tonight, but one day.
The other, I guess, the other bit of news from this was that it's going to premiere November 24th.
Yeah.
So
you guys got another show this year. Good for you.
It's crazy.
Seems like that report of the Miss Marvel and Hawkeye coming out this year is not exactly accurate because I don't think that leaves much room for Miss Marvel.
Do you think that there's going to be burnout with this Marvel stuff? Like,
well,
they really are coming out a lot. I know there's backlog, but
yeah, I mean, they had something potentially scheduled for in December as well, but there's not enough runtime unless this Hawkeye series is like 3 episodes. But I don't know. Like, I think that there's going to be some burnout. I think that the difference though is with the movies, like they're saying, you don't have to watch Disney Plus. But I mean, if you're watching Marvel, you're watching Disney Plus anyway. So I do think that what's going to end up happening is you're going to have people that just don't complete shows. I mean, like Brandon and Falcon Winter Soldier, but there's definitely some shows I think people will skip.
I have
and this
no
could
regrets.
Possibly...
If you started that review series with us, I'm sorry.
Y'all could have done it without me. I'm just saying. You didn't want to do it either.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of what's going to happen with a couple of these series, right? Like I think that when Hawkeye comes out, you're going to have some people that are just like, I don't really care about Hawkeye, so I'm not going to watch it. Like if they do a Young Avengers, I'll figure it out later. So I do think there will be some fatigue in there, especially depending on how many movies Sony releases, because even though it's not MCU, it's still Marvel based, and there's a lot of movies that are scheduled within the next couple months hitting theaters. So
that's a question from James. He's pretty active with us on Twitter. If you were to recommend your top 2 Marvel shows, Britt, what would they be?
I mean, definitely Loki at this point. I think even though Marvel said like you don't have to watch Disney Plus to know the movies, I think you're gonna have to watch Loki at some level with the whole multiverse aspect of it. Again, no spoilers or anything like that. But I would definitely say that Loki's probably at the top of my list. And then the second one, I guess I would go with WandaVision. Yeah.
Those are the 2. You don't have to watch any of the other ones.
I don't know. I think What If is probably the next one. Like we've only had 1 episode, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I'm sure. But it's kind of one of those things that WandaVision's really cool for what it is. Same thing. I think it started to ramp and it had its ebbs and flows, and it probably could have had a better ending, but it wasn't terrible. But I would say Loki's probably the number 1 at the moment to watch, and then potentially this What If series if we continue to get good episodes.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I would agree.
Straight from the
Loki has been the best IMO.
Agreed. I think we all are in agreement there.
Yeah. Marvel content is like pizza. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's still pretty good. There we go.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
You gotta take it for what it is and find the gems throughout. Like
that's what I mean. I'm comparing it to pizza. When you just take it for what it is. It's pizza.
So
just eat
watch it, rationalize it.
There you go. Find a reason to like it. The sauce was okay this time.
Yeah, because even in like Falcon Winter Soldier, which to me, if I'm ranking them all right now, that's at the bottom of the list. I still think that there's a lot of cool things that they did throughout the series, but there's definitely some other stuff I'm just like, you could have cut it out. Like, I mean, again, I guess we can spoil some of it for James a little bit, but like the whole Shield death scene that happened on the streets, like that was kind of like a shocker moment. Kind of like as much as people don't like the Falcon becoming Captain America, like I do think that that's kind of a cool like way to really pass the baton onto the character. So I don't know.
I would say it's kind of like
DCU. What is DCU? Is the first question. What is that?
That's a can of worms there.
Right.
I would say, that's what I was gonna say. I'd say like a gumbo that you cleaned out your freezer and made because
I was gonna say sushi.
There you
like
go.
every now and then you get a couple good ones like the Zack Snyder Justice League, and then you get a lot of other ones that are like from a gas station and you just don't want it.
Like a really exotic,
that's actually a
sashimi plate.
There you go.
It's a good analogy.
The salmon
Britt.
and the tuna were great.
Checks out.
Yeah. So we also had we haven't talked about this with you, Britt. Scarlett Johansson trying to bring the Mouse House down.
Yeah. And
Britt,
you know what?
You keep texting us. You're very pro Mouse House, and you're very you're just like she's messing up. She's gonna end up ruining
it. We're gonna get another job. Just got another job today in a Wes Anderson movie.
That's what I was saying. She just landed a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like, all right, one, the way it came down wasn't done properly from her side. I get it; they're losing money. I remember this came up when HBO Max signed their whole deal with a lot of the movies from Warner Brothers. There was a lot of people complaining about not making the money they were going to. Disney Plus already hit this a little bit before with Soul going straight to the platform, and some people not getting recognition because the movies didn't hit theaters and whatnot. So we've heard this before, and I do think that there's a couple pieces that were probably done incorrect. One from maybe her side and how it was approached. I don't know, but definitely, Disney at this point owns 60% of the market of movies.
That sounds like
if not
victim blaming to me, Britt. I'm just saying.
I'm going to get to the point that Disney has made a huge mistake in just a second, but which is actually a good segue too. But with that, it's kind of one of those things where she's shooting herself in the foot, and the fact that now she has one of her movies she was doing with Disney that's already been canceled, and a lot of other places may not want to work with her if they're like Warner Brothers and they know that the movie may not go to theaters or potentially may not go to theaters in the next year or 2 years, depending on how long it takes to make the movie. So I don't know. I don't think it's the right move if you're an actor and actress. You have to understand what's going on right now and the fact that, there's some people that aren't going to theaters, and with everything now going back to be worse than it was, I'm here in Florida. Our numbers are worse now than they were at the peak. So, people aren't going to the theaters to watch stuff down here. So, we're in a weird world right now, and you have to do that. Now, the other side of that is I think Disney made a really bad move this past week by calling Shang-Chi an experiment of not putting it on Disney Plus, which the actor has already kind of blown them up on Twitter. But I think that almost like backs up Scarlett Johansson's thing now to say, hey, we don't want them also getting mad. We don't want Awkwafina to get mad that her movie's not going to theaters. And then we have another person.
I think they also made a mistake in their response to Scarlett's claims by saying she's being insensitive to the times that we're living in, which is also them A, virtue signaling, and B, they're profiting off of not having to pay her for. I mean, they're getting more money by putting this on Premiere than they would be having to pay distribution for theaters and things like that. So they're trying to use it in their favor. It's just not apples to apples, and it kind of it just comes across as the opposite of what they intended. I don't care. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, she's a movie star, she's got plenty of money, but here's the thing: this is business. She had a deal, and by all accounts, they didn't honor that deal, and so there needs to be compensation made because that's just the way it works. So,
and I agree with you on that.
I couldn't pretend. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that if I made 10 million and I was supposed to make 50, I'm going to be like, you know what, 10 million is good enough. I'm good with that. I'm like, no, give me my other 40. You better fix that. You know what I mean? Like, I understand where she's coming from on her end, but
it's just you've seen other studios make these deals for the talent that had back end deals. You saw it with Wonder Woman. You saw it with The Little Things. I'm sure there were others, but Disney just hasn't. They don't want to do that, so they're trying to excuse themselves from it and using the pandemic as an excuse, which is just not fair. So,
well, and that's the mistake I think they made is we've seen it work out in other other distributors and other places with HBO Max stuff where they said, hey, I know this is what's going on, but here's this amount of money that we can work with, right? Like, I don't know. I think that probably should have been the first move. And the other side of this is we don't know if she's like been making a big deal about this for a year now because they kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And it just never hit the news until she was like, well, fine, I'm going to have to sue, right? She may have actually been saying something for 6-8 months and it just came up to this. And then the media grabbed it and ran with it. So I don't know. I think both sides, have their spots. I would say for anyone, I mean, you have like Emma Stone also saying she's potentially thinking about it, yet they've already, I think, somewhat greenlit a Cruella 2 movie. Yeah. So like, I don't know, like, you have to weigh your pros and cons on, okay, now do you just say, okay, my next movie, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to get screwed on this or whatever. I'm going to ask for.
That's the thing though. She probably, Emma Stone, I could see her using it as leverage for Cruella 2. Whereas Scarlett is done, so and there's no future with her. Yeah, so it's just like but anyway, it is what it is.
Cash on the way out the door,
right?
Probably so.
We also we kind of talked about this in the group text. We saw some set photos of Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher costume,
which we're not showing.
I was surprised. Yeah, we're not showing, so we don't get any, strikes or whatever. But
Marvel coming after you,
right?
That Mouse House.
Powerful legal team.
They're greedy out there.
But I was surprised at the reaction from, I think it was both of y'all in the group text, because I thought it was a cool looking. Like, obviously, you're probably going to see some CG additions to his appearance.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something.
You guys were seeing. I was surprised. Usually, when I put something Marvel in there, you both are like within like a minute, like love.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
He looked like the white dog turd from Step Brothers that the kids made him lick on the playground. That's what he looked like for me.
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where the character itself like doesn't have too many details. So, we gotta see what it looks like post-production. But I don't know. I mean, I also don't like, I didn't like the elves in Thor 2, and it really brings back thoughts of those elves. And I'm really hoping that that's not what we're going to see, in the next movie. So,
yeah,
especially being Thor.
I just thought it was funny that he was like walking around, like he's got his like fingernails and stuff. He's just like chugging on bottled water, like
yeah. The other side of it is like a lot of these characters that end up being overdone with makeup, like take out Guardians, like forget Guardians part, but any of the other movies, whenever you kind of get that overwhelming makeup, those characters don't tend to last in the MCU. They're kind of like a one and done, out of here. So
interesting.
I mean, I would hate to see Christian Bale also, like, I mean, he's a good actor. Like, maybe his character's only for that movie, but I would love to kind of see continuation of characters like we saw with Loki and we've seen with some of the other, you know, characters that I guess they've become heroes rather than villains, but you know, we'll see him in more.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm that's one of the Love and Thunder is one of those movies that I'm excited for, but I just have a lot of reservations about it at the same time. I love Ragnarok has really grown on me over the years. Like I would probably rank it up in like top 4 or 5 for me.
Oh
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's the humor bug. I just, you know, I never know. I never know if I'm gonna like love it or hate humor. And
there's definitely
movies,
definitely a tipping point in there, you know, like, but like you guys have talked about, you know, background movies, comfort food kind of thing. That's, I mean, Thor Ragnarok on any given day, it's probably playing in my living room.
Oh no, Thor's in a cage.
Yeah. The thing that I'm curious about the movie is when we left off, Thor was with the Guardians. And so I'm curious what's going to happen with that. Is James Gunn, does he have any kind of, you know, hands in it? Or are we going to see where like Taika Waititi, like now the Guardians are going to feel different, right? Because we're going with different director and stuff. And then what does that do for Guardians 3 when Gunn, you know, is back doing that one? So like, I don't know. I'm curious where that's going to go. Are the Guardians going to be there for the first 5 minutes and then drop them off somewhere and leave? Or, you know, are they going to be a bigger part of the movie? Like, I don't know. I'm excited though, just because I want to see Korg back. I want to see, you know, Thor. I do like what Ragnarok did with the Thor franchise, because when I rank my MCU movies, Thor 1 and Thor 2 are always near the bottom. So, you know, just weren't my favorites there.
Definitely revitalized that character.
Oh yeah.
Like
I've said, if you would have told me that Thor was the original Avenger that was going to get a 4th movie, I would have told you were crazy. You know, I mean, especially with the first 2.
True.
Yeah. We're also going to see him like the size of Hulk Hogan with gigantic arms. So we'll see.
Yeah. That is also
makes
accurate.
me. I mean, every time I scroll through Twitter and that picture shows
Ryan's
up,
going to get a new workout regime.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Somebody will have to. He just makes me feel like less of a man every time I scroll through and see that picture of him.
Don't you say that, David Ayer. Don't you say that. So interesting little tidbit that was learned with What If this past week. An episode involving Spider-Man was considered too dark for the MCU.
I love that Britt keeps changing his backgrounds based on what we're talking about.
I got him set, guys. I got him set. I don't have them all because I didn't look at your 300 pages of notes until 5 minutes before.
If you're doing it off the show notes.
No, I was doing it off of your little teaser, and then I opened the show notes 10 minutes before the show, and I was like, oh, I didn't get them all.
Nice.
So,
I love the effort.
Yeah.
The production value just next level now.
Yeah,
that's a Marvel DC thing. That's what it is.
That's what we do. Just take it up one notch. I don't know. Like with that episode of the Man Spider, essentially is the one they've talked about, and they actually released like 2 or 3 other episodes that aren't coming this season, may or may not come season 2. But I don't know. Like the 90s cartoon did Man Spider. It was the darker episodes, but
well, that's like one of the episodes that like really stuck with me at that show. Like looking back on it.
You also had Punisher in those episodes hunting down the Man Spider. So.
Yeah.
The thing that's concerning here is them saying it was too dark for PG-13. I just feel like that's like the downfall of Disney having these characters and not be able to take risks like that. Like, you know,
well, I mean, and I don't get it because it's animated. Like I could understand it being like a live action, whatever, and like something was crazy, but like it's animation. You can do whatever you want with it, and you can make it as dark or non-dark as you want with the writing. So I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get the fear.
Yeah, that's what scares me about the possibility of the Punisher coming back. Is like, I don't know what's
or Blade.
With that. Yeah.
It's interesting because like I watched that Visions trailer today, and
Yeah.
there was some pretty dark stuff in there, like visually dark stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know if it's just What If specifically they're trying to keep it at PG-13, and maybe with whatever's going to come later, they can kind of experiment a little bit more with it. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you guys. Like I just
don't
like
know
if it's one of those series you could
would've
do,
pushed it over the PG-13. You know, like
especially with the zombie
someone
episode.
in that meeting in an executive position is really afraid of spiders.
Yeah, it's like too many arms.
Yeah.
Can't have it like that, guys.
Humans have 2 arms.
He's pulling web out of his butt and wrapping it around people. What's going on here?
Well, I don't
That's
get
a
about
visual.
it is we've
you go.
already seen in the trailers, we've seen the zombie episode, right? And to me, like
Yeah.
the zombie episode seems like it'd be more freaky to kids. Or I mean, look at Spider-Man Far From Home when Mysterio was doing the whole zombie whatever illusion. Like
Yeah.
to me, that was pretty dark. So like and it was all PG-13. So I don't know what they were gonna do with it that was so dark, or if it truly was just somebody didn't like Spider-Man having multiple arms. Because I think one of the pieces was the body, whatever they called it, but it was essentially because he didn't look like a human.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
like body. I mean, yeah, body horror. But that's
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I think it's unfortunate if that was the case. Like they need to kind of push the envelope a little bit, in my opinion,
Yeah.
instead of playing it safe. But
Yeah.
what you gonna do?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm how are you guys liking? I mean, did you guys watch episode 1 so far? With Captain
We'll
Carter.
get there. We'll get there, Brett.
Okay. It's later.
Yep.
I'm looking. I didn't see it on there.
I know,
Watches
last time you
of
were
the
on
week.
here,
Watch
last
it.
time you were on here,
I
you
see
were really worried that we weren't going to talk about
see it.
Loki. And
I see page 4.
we're gonna
on page
just
2. We got 2 more
calm
hours.
down.
We're good.
We
listen,
love you.
You
We
got
got
plenty
you
of
covered.
stuff.
It's okay.
You got so much to gush over.
Yeah,
Relax.
You know.
Okay?
You
Just
got
relax.
you got in your show notes. You have Marvel. It's not in the Marvel section. It's page
Listen,
4 down at the bottom.
It's in the what we're watching, bro. It's what we're watching. Okay, this is news. It's not news that we watched. What if?
Speak for
I mean, it
yourself,
is to
man.
me. It is to me. Brandon actually watching a Disney Plus Marvel
That's
series
a good point.
and
That's a
finishing the
checkmate.
episode is news.
That's a
He
check.
ain't lying.
It's not national news. It's maybe news for this podcast.
All right, let's talk a little Moon Knight. First off, what'd you guys think of the image that kind of circled the interwebs this last week? You think it was legit?
Are you talking about Ghost from Ant-Man 2?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I want to see it. Apparently,
Real?
this one also
Not
has a
real.
darker feel. So
Yeah.
again, it's
Seemed
kind of
like
like
it could be
the I think it's kind of like the other suit with Christian Bale. Like it looks okay, and after production and stuff, it'll look pretty good with the shadows and the
Yeah.
details and stuff. But
I thought it looked pretty solid,
don't
to
know.
be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that's probably the Marvel series that I'm most interested in checking out. So
Mhm.
they had me at Oscar Isaac. But it was
Same.
also revealed that Ethan Hawke's Moon Knight villain is inspired by Brandon's
My hero.
recent
Is that what you were
recent
saying?
fascination from watching the documentary, or not documentary, the
the miniseries.
Taylor. Oh, yeah, you watched the documentary after it, but
Yeah.
2020 fascination, David Koresh.
Yeah. It's an interesting connotation to make. Well, it's what's funny is apparently during this interview, the interviewer said that the interviewer made the connection that his hair was very Koresh, like in that interview that he was doing while he's filming the show. And he was like, "That's interesting that you say that because I'm basing this character on him." Yeah, so I don't think they've disclosed who he's playing. Is that correct? Like,
Not to my
he's just the
knowledge.
villain.
I don't think they've put a name yet to him.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of take that is. Because I don't know. cult leaders are compelling. Like it's just a fascinating dynamic, just in general. And so to see how that kind of, I don't know anything about Moon Knight. I don't know anything about this series besides Oscar Isaac's involvement and obviously Ethan Hawke. But yeah, it's an interesting choice, and I'm excited to see, because this, as far as like on paper, as far just on like talent, this one has probably it's my most anticipated just on talent alone. So
and they've said it's going to feel a little bit darker. It's going to have kind of that Daredevil from Netflix feel. So it could be really cool. But I think that they're in a good spot right now. And so this is the weird difference to me.
I'm really glad that they're in a good spot.
No, I mean, the weird part that I have between Marvel and DC, right? We talked about it earlier with DC and Blue Beetle, and they're like, oh, they picked this character nobody really knows about, and they're going to go down here. It's weird because like that, I'm scared for DC to do that. And it's like, that's what Marvel's doing in all these Disney Plus series. They're like, hey, let's go grab this character nobody really knows. Except for maybe a younger, person where he's popped in. Like Moon Knight's popped into some of the kids cartoons that are newer. But yeah, I don't know much about him either. So it's kind of like, it's funny how they take the chances and we're like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, Marvel's got this. So
the difference is they've got the biggest, like their foundation is so solid.
Yeah.
DC's just, again, there's just like throwing blind darts at a wall where you have no idea where the board is.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what all these series are going to be, but I do think there'll be some misses in a way of just some people not wanting to watch them. Like even when you get into Miss Marvel, I think that'll be another one of those series. She-Hulk, there'll be some of these series where people are just like, I may not watch it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That might be me.
But you gotta watch She-Hulk. We may get Daredevil back. We may have Mark Ruffalo making his last appearance.
Don't you dare tease me with Daredevil.
Rumors are out, man. Rumors are out. We may see the Kingpin coming back, so we'll see.
We know about your rumors.
Yeah.
You and your news at the same gas station, I think.
Yes, James is correct. Bring back Daredevil and Punisher. Agreed. 100%.
Ethan Hawke's going to be the man behind the curtain for the Flag Smashers. That's what's going to happen. Mark the tape right here. I'm calling it. That's who he's going to be.
Nice.
Sorry.
The one leading him.
Well, break it down.
Guys, the initial Shang-Chi reactions are in, and guess what? They're positive.
Yeah.
They're positive.
Shang-Chi
was a blast. Shang-Chi is fantastic. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is phenomenal.
That twist, that's very twisty.
Oh,
that's an ironic
big
drop.
Surprise. Big surprise.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Britt. You got another good on your hands. Congrats.
I think
happy for you.
I think this was one of the ones that I wasn't as sure about. Like based on the first trailer that came out and dropped, there was no action in the trailer. I was a little worried and like, what are they doing here? But we got the next couple trailers that had some fight scenes in it and, some Abomination, hanging out and things like that. So, it's
I just noticed your back.
Just on it.
We got Wong and Abomination just fighting back there. But yeah, like it's one of those things where
you need to be like fake Mike and like giving it like a it's crazy in here right now.
So once we get
the Abomination fight.
It was I'm excited about it. Now the trailer that dropped today or just
Rogan's gonna come up beside you and start commentating.
Gonna sweat all over you.
Yeah. So I don't know. The trailer that dropped the long extended fight scene. I don't know I know Brandon, you dodged some trailers, but it dropped yesterday or today. It's kind of interview sequence with them, and then they showed the long fight scene on the side of the building. That makes me a little worried
for you, Britt. You got to level up.
Costumes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Costumes are next. We'll bring them in.
Start getting like we're going 3-dimensional now.
I'll get moving
building.
crowns.
We need your lighting to start
building and the
matching
other
the
one over
scenes
here.
behind you as well. Every time
Yeah.
you switch your
Got to get the hue lights set up so I can hit my button.
right.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it'll be good. All the reviews are good. I'm curious of when it takes place, and we were talking about that earlier with, Ben Kingsley showing up on the red carpet and potentially being in the movie. So I don't know if this is people have said maybe alternate timeline, could be something that's actually set before Iron Man 2.
I think he was just
Maybe this
showing
is
up to
afterwards.
apologize to everyone.
Yeah. Like I'm sorry I ruined your character. You're about to actually do well. So, I don't know.
I'm honestly, I did not go see Black Widow in theaters. This one I will go see in theaters. I'm interested to see this one. For whatever reason, it doesn't feel super MCU to me. No, not that that's a bad thing, Britt. Don't hit me.
No, you're good. You're good. You're wanting to go see Crazy Rich Asians. You're going to go see this movie, right?
Right.
You're
Yeah. Right. Correct. Yeah. I'm interested in this one. I think it'll be a cool. The setting. It'll be a nice little setting shift that we haven't seen. Also, on the Asian fighting styles and stuff. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Did either of you guys, or did any of you guys get those early screening?
No,
there's whatever.
When you guys sent it out, I went and looked. There's not a single theater within like 50 miles, almost 100 miles from me that's showing it, or I would be all over it because I'm actually out of town when it premieres, so I'm gonna have to see it when we get back. So
nice. Yeah, I checked it right when you sent it, but they were already scooped up. All the ones in the Atlanta showing. All right.
That's too bad, guys.
Yeah.
Too bad.
All right.
I know you're super excited, Brandon. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit of Star Wars news. And I actually had not seen this piece of news, so you have to explain this to me.
Yeah, me either.
Well, basically, there's just I think this is kind of from that behind the scenes making of extra. I don't think they've put it out yet. I think it's coming out about that last episode of Mandalorian. Just showing Mark Hamill there on set.
Sure.
Which we've talked about before, just how this decision, I get the reason why they did it, but it just doesn't make sense for them to do that. Like to have him physically portray a young version of this character. It's the whole De Niro and Pacino and all, that whole Irishman thing. It just doesn't, obviously it didn't work out in their favor in terms of fidelity.
Sure.
But again, I know why they did it, but that's really it. It's just, the image is interesting to see him on set, but to me, it just screams like, but why'd you do it? Why'd you do that?
Well, I think the other side of it that like almost is a bad thing to them is a lot of people looked at this and they're like, oh my gosh, this is season 3, right? Like a lot of people started looking at, and they looked at this image and didn't realize this is just set photos from that last episode. They're thinking it's all the new stuff because we also got the trailer poster drop with Grogu and the yellow lightsaber in the image that they dropped. So I think a lot of people took that and ran with it, and they were thinking like, oh, Mark Hamill's going to come back and we're going to see him and Grogu a lot in season 3. And I do think we'll get an episode or two, kind of like check in or whatever with it. But I don't foresee him like really coming back a lot. And it's probably if they would have cast somebody else, they could have. So
I, for whatever reason, just mentally, I've just kind of, and maybe I shouldn't, like I've totally written off like Luke being in season 3. Like, I don't know. It just kind of felt like that was like kind of the wrap of that story, I guess, but maybe not.
It may only be one episode where he brings Grogu back or something, but
yeah.
They need to sell some more Grogu toys.
That's what I was fixing to say. Pedro ain't sailing that ship on his own. They're gonna have to get that little fella back in there. Nobody's gonna watch it.
Yeah, I think the curiosity part I have with that series is now that you have your spinoffs with the Book of Fett, you have Rosario Dawson's character. I can't think of it. I know it starts with an A, but yeah, Ahsoka. Like you have these different spin-off series, but they're all kind of intertwined. I'm curious if now we're just going to be in this weird, again, kind of like the MCU, you're in this weird thing where you're just always expecting people to keep crossing paths. And so they may start to write themselves in a hole where they're actually having to do that in all these seasons. So they have to bring Grogu back. They have to bring Luke back in one episode at a minimum, you know, as they're going through it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. We shall see.
Indeed.
Well, Britt, you're a big Disney World fan. You like to frequent the Disney Worlds. What's your take on the price point for the new Star Wars Star Cruiser hotel?
So
between what, $5 and $6 grand for 2 nights?
Yeah. When I was seeing all this stuff originally, I was like, man, this is the coolest idea in the world. If you've actually gone on Rise of the Resistance, like if you're on Rise of the Resistance, you feel like you're in the movie. They do such a great job of immersing you. So to take that to a whole nother level of being on, a Starship Cruiser for your 2 nights when you're staying, and they have a lot of stuff. So I'm going to say 2 things. One is the price is pretty ridiculous, but I'm hoping eventually the price comes down. And to be honest, what is all included is not the same price, but it's similar to like what you're getting on like a cruise experience. It's your food, it's activities. Like every hour they have new activities going on that you can do, to where literally you could do this and not even go to Disney and you would have a great time. Mm-hmm. But $6 grand for 2 people for 2 nights, you know, it's 2 people and a kid, I think, for 2 nights. That is a lot of money. That is a whole lot of money. And I think they're banking on the fact that people are doing the build your own lightsaber for $200, and people are paying all the money that they do to do all these Star Wars experiences within the parks. I know that they know people will pay it, and I think that's where they are with it. But I would not pay it. So
this probably is also you would, or would it?
I would.
Yeah. I will pay it more than likely at some point.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I wonder if the price point is also a little bit of crowd control because of how the demand is going to be so high.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if they still have COVID restrictions in ways, because again, we've gone back to mask at Disney World, so you have mask if you're in queue or on the rides right now. So with the fact that right now the parks still have your system of getting your passes to go in every day, I would 100% agree on that, especially this first year with that experience. Like if you're going in and doing Jedi training and things like that, like they don't want, if they put the room at $300 a night, if you look at some of the other hotels, I mean, $300 to $500 a night is what a lot of the other hotels do when you have 2 or 3 beds in your room. So they have to double that. And at this point they're, tripling it, and more, but I do think it's crowd control. It makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's also one of those things where you want it to be very personal, and the more people you allow to be in there at one time, the less personal it's going to be. And so by having it at a higher price point, it kind of justifies that and allows for that more, more one-on-one experience. But I mean, it looks awesome. I've been to the Batuu experience with you, Britt. That was my first time going. You were there, and I remember it fondly. So, I would definitely. The cool thing about it, I think we talked about this when they had put out the trailer or whatever it was for it. But the cool thing about this is how immersive it is. You get on, you're like your transporter, you get on the cruiser ship, and then you can get to and from the park the same way. So it's like you're leaving the ship going down to Batuu. And it's like, and you can stay completely immersed in Star Wars for those 2 days and just only do your Star Cruiser stuff and the Batuu stuff, and that's it, and not go out to the rest of the parks and feel like you're actually living in that world, which is cool. So, Yeah, so we'll see. I know the demand's going to be super high. It's probably going to be booked up for a while, even at that price point. But I'll be excited to check it out at some point. Just gotta start saving them monies.
Yep.
They also have the other restaurant opening too. The 2022, whatever the space. I'm bad at this, but the new restaurant that they're doing, which is the space restaurant, is supposed to be opening later this year too. So it'll kind of coincide with a lot of that as well to give you yet another potential experience. And if I had to guess, they're going to have transports that'll take you there as a different place to eat if you wanted to. But
well, maybe that'll at least allow people to get reservations at Olga's Cantina, because I've yet to be able to go to that because it's always booked up. So.
Well, especially right now. Right now, it's like every restaurant, like, because we go all the time, and we're like thinking like, oh, let's go find something, and every now and then you'll see something, but it'll be at like 2:30. It's like, I don't want to eat dinner at 2:30, and it's too late for lunch with a 3-year-old. So
you're too young for that, Britt. Too young for 2:30.
Yeah, that's my kind of dinner reservation up there.
All right, let's talk about this Lord of the Rings series.
I feel like this came out a month ago at this point. It's been so long.
I know.
But
but we haven't talked.
Definitely is worth talking about it
because this is everything I want. So they released the first picture of the Amazon's Lord of the Rings series that they spent a bazillion dollars on producing. And the first episode may be premiering on September 2nd, 2022. We will see. But it just sucks that we have to wait that long. It's killing me. This looks awesome. I'm so stoked for this show. I don't know, Alan and Britt, are you Lord of the Rings fans?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched everything they've put out so far. I haven't done the audiobooks or read the books. I know Mandy has. Mandy's the book reader in our household. She just gives me the cliff notes before we walk into the theater. But no, I'm excited. I'll watch it for sure.
Nice.
I'm not like living for it like you, Ryan, but I am excited.
Other than Snyder stuff coming out, which probably will not. This is next on my list.
Yeah. For me, I did all the midnight releases, and we did the 3.5 hour midnight releases and things like that. But yeah, I love Lord of the Rings in general. I like The Hobbit. I like all the stuff. I've got all the extended versions. I've watched them. My biggest thing is just, once we get outside of that core, because that's kind of what I grew up on a long time ago, is reading just the main books. I don't really know a lot of the lore outside of those. So I'm curious what we'll see in that. I'm sure we'll get a couple, nods to some of the older characters popping in and out, as cameos and things like that at some level. But
sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I just want to see what they do with it and when in the timeline it's set, I guess.
Right.
So
yeah. Good, Brandon.
Well, it's they kind of said that it's going to be you'll have some familiar faces returning. Now, whether or not they'll be like, I don't know how they haven't said if this is like tied to the Peter Jackson like canon,
right?
I don't think.
Not that
I know they. Yeah, I mean, I know they shot it in New Zealand, which I think they announced that season 2 is going to be in the UK or somewhere.
I'd be shocked if they didn't capitalize on it being loosely connected, at least.
Yeah. Well, you can at least hit like the elves. You can hit like a few of the characters that like age and don't age and things like that.
I honestly hope they don't do that. I kind of want to see a departure from all of the stuff that we've seen in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Obviously Sauron, but like with Sauron, like that kind of stuff, you can draw some continuity.
I would like to see the old stuff, like pre-Hobbit. The actual War of the Rings and all that.
That's what this is. Was it Age? Second, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, Second Age. I think.
Yeah.
90 G's all over it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. Which, if you've played the Shadow of Mordor video game, they have a little bit of that in there as far as now.
I own it, Brandon.
You own it. I haven't played Shadow of War, but Shadow of Mordor is actually really good. And it follows the creation of the ring, and now how canonical it is, it's debatable as far as, I don't know if they pulled any source material as far as that story, but it's just kind of it could come across more fan fiction-y. I know David, who's been on the pod, he's a big Tolkien fan, and I think he had some issues with how they treated some of that stuff in that video game as far as story is concerned.
Yeah.
But and he'll probably have issues with this series as well, because he's very much like an avid book purist. So but we'll see. I'm excited. But yeah, this screenshot just looks gorgeous, and with the report they're spending like what, 460-ish million.
Eat your heart out, Eternals.
Which also looks pretty. But yeah, this looks cinematic it looks like Amazon's, at least putting up the money that it deserves. So
I'm curious with that kind of stuff when it comes to Amazon, right? So we have HBO Max, where it's like, if you want any of the DC stuff, you got to sign up for HBO Max. If you want some of these movies like Godzilla and whatever, at least for this year, right, you can go see them before they hit theaters, or don't have to go to theaters. You've got Disney Plus with all their stuff, and Netflix with their stuff. It's like, I'm just curious, with Amazon putting this much money in it, it's like, what are they looking at for the return? Because I feel like, at least for me, right, I have Amazon, I've watched the stuff, but I have Amazon for my Amazon Prime. Like, it's just an added bonus here. And I feel like, are there people that actually go out and they're like, well, I want to go watch The Boys, so I'm going to go get just Amazon for The Boys. And that's the reason. And it's not because of Amazon Prime.
I'm sure that there are different factors, but I imagine they're just wanting to have more premium content, because people don't really associate the Prime name with the streaming service yet. I mean, I'm sure that the majority of that is 2-day shipping, and that's the bulk of it.
Right.
I think all of this is so like forward thinking. Like Amazon is going to be so much bigger than what they are. Like what we we grew up as them basically being the
bookstore,
the books, and maybe starting 2-day shipping stuff, like, and that's how where they kind of are now. Like, you need something quick, or that's the shop.
I'm curious what this is going to look like in a year or two from now, when they're having to recoup some of this money. Do they bring their streaming service as its own thing, and now you're having to pay more for your Amazon Prime, or you have to buy a separate thing for it? So that's my worry.
It's kind of what they did. Yeah, it's kind of what they did with Amazon Music. It started out where you could pretty much listen to any of it for free, and now you have to have premium access for some of the newer songs and things like that. So it could end up being like that. But yeah, I remember the running joke when they first started streaming anything was, watching a movie on Amazon is like ordering socks from Netflix. They just don't. It just doesn't work. And now they're killing it.
Bezos is just taking over the world, and he's tackling Hollywood, because they're
Lex Luthor's flying to space with our money over there for 2-day shipping.
I don't know. With me, if I look at my list of what do we want to watch tonight, it's underneath Apple TV at the moment. I know not for some of you guys, but like outside of when The Boys come on, like there's a few shows I'm like, let me go watch those and binge those. But when I don't have a series I know I'm watching, like, I never even check it. So I don't know. Hopefully,
I mean, I agree with you.
More content.
I think it is a very underrated platform, though. I think they get a lot of quality original stuff on there. It just doesn't get the credit that it deserves. And,
Sneaky Pete was really awesome. I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen that, but Fleabag was really good. I enjoyed what was the Marvelous Miss Maisel. And there's a handful of other things. I never watched the Jack Ryan stuff, but
Jack Ryan, you watched that. Too. I like that.
And then just some of their like Amazon Studios like movies have been really good too. So a lot of those acquisitions.
Speaking of streaming stuff, Sweet Tooth officially got a second season.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Britt, did you watch Sweet Tooth?
I have not. I know when I first saw the very first trailer, I put in our text. I was like, "Look, it's DC," because it had a DC logo at the end of it. But I haven't checked it out yet. It's kind of on my list of things to check out.
Fun, man. I feel like you'd like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's as Marvel. It's as Marvel as a DC show is going to get. I'm just playing.
It's pretty. Robert Downey Jr. Brett. There's your connection.
No, I have to check it out. Now, will Kelly like it, or is this something that's the wives aren't as into?
My wife was pushing this.
My
show
daughter liked
more
it.
than I was.
It's a pretty wholesome show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how, like, as far as like frightening things go with your little one, but Luna really enjoyed it in our house. But yeah, it's really solid. The shortcomings would be its main stars, but the surrounding stuff around them is really, really good.
The story is awesome, for sure.
Yeah,
really, really good.
So let's talk some trailers. We've had a couple trailers come out since the last time that we talked. We had the Venom trailer, second Venom trailer, I guess. I don't know. Britt specifically, I know that Alan, Brandon, and I have talked about it, but Britt, what were your thoughts on this trailer?
So I love the characters, Venom and Carnage. I love the characters. I'm not sold. Like, the first Venom movie was okay. There was parts of it I really liked. There was other parts I just didn't like how they portrayed, Venom. This is kind of falling in that same part. Like, looking at the trailer, I think it'll be pretty good, but I'm going in with low expectations. I mean, it's in the Marvel franchise, but it's not MCU. And so when it comes to Sony, like, I look at Venom being much different than Spider-Man because MCU has their hands all over Spider-Man stuff. But when it comes to this one, like, I'm gonna watch it. I think it'll be good. I think there'll be some pieces I don't like about it. And when it comes to these trailers, like, Woody Harrelson is still not selling Carnage to me for some reason. So I don't know. I like the visuals that they're doing.
Kind of like tee up him becoming Carnage with him biting Eddie. Yeah, is kind of lame and weird, and at least the way it's presented in the trailer.
I like the line. I like the line. I've tasted human blood, and that's not it. I like the line, but I don't like that. That's the way that he's going to.
For some reason, I'm thinking
or the symbiote.
I don't know why I interpreted it this way, but for some reason, I was thinking that he was biting him because he knows, like, that he has that in his blood. That could be, and maybe that's off base. But,
well, the weird part is, like, when you think
it's a trailer, but it just came across clunky in the trailer.
Well, and it seems weird because, like, if that was a danger to Eddie, like, Venom would pop out of nowhere and, like, prevent him from biting him. So, like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of nuances in that where, again, you're gonna have to take it for what it is and kind of take the brain off a little bit. But I don't know. I think it'll be cool. I think they're gonna, like, Carnage will be an awesome visual aspect on the screen. What we've already seen in the trailers looks just really great with how they're doing it compared to, our Topher Grace Venom back in the day. So, I'm looking forward to it, but it's not something where, I've got it at the top of a list. So
with the first trailer, I know you mentioned you had an issue with the coloring. Did this trailer help you feel better about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, it did. We're seeing more red on Carnage. One of my biggest issues I had with the first Venom movie was the two symbiotes were, I mean, like, you had a gray one and a black one, and the gray one pretty much was black most of the time. So
it was all shot at night, so it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things when they were fighting, it was just kind of like this big blob. It was hard to kind of follow. I had some reservations with Carnage kind of being the same thing because he's very dark in a lot of the trailers, but you are seeing the red. So I don't know. I want to see what the fight scenes look like, but the whole thing of Carnage is, like, he is like a psychopath, and he just kills and he does whatever. And that's the part where I don't necessarily like Venom, the way they're portraying Venom right now, where he's like eating people and stuff. Like Venom's violent, but he's not like super violent, and that's why he kind of changes to be an anti-hero in a lot of senses. And even you know your Flash Thompson, Agent
Flash
Venom,
Thomas.
and things like that. Yeah,
Flash
So-
Thomas.
so I don't know. Like, I like it. I like what I'm seeing so far, but I'm gonna, just like I do with any Sony and Fox movie, I'm gonna go in with low expectations and see how it ends up.
Did any of y'all see the trailer for this Y the Last Man?
I did.
I don't.
Why?
You did see it? Okay.
Why would I? I'm just playing. I don't know. No, I didn't see it.
Well, it's based on a graphic
I'm
novel
just playing, Brandon.
or a comic.
Jeez.
I saw it, and it looks really good, actually. I don't know a ton about source material. I know it's like a Brian K. Vaughan.
Martha Kent's in it, so I'm in.
Why did you say that
She-
name?
Yeah, I think she's. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like she was in she was the president or something.
I don't remember. But yeah, it looks good. It's on FX, and FX has a good track record of putting out good shows.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an FX on Hulu exclusive or it's
President.
FX.
Show.
What
Okay.
I was starting to watch the trailer, and then I kind of didn't continue because I know it's something that Kelly wouldn't want to watch. But is it zombie related, or is it like? I mean,
No.
are the creatures?
It's kind of like seemed like it's similar to like a Children of Men type situation where basically all the males except for one dude die in the world, and so you've got some kind of. I mean, it's also has similar like connections to like Sweet Tooth, where there's a virus. It's like or whatever. It wipes out all the Y chromosome people in the on the planet, that's why it's called Y the Last Man. Anyway, but yeah, so there's one guy, and there's no like understanding as to why this is happening, why he's immune to it, and that kind of thing.
There's so many
but,
Ys being said.
So Sixes, there's a lot of Y's getting thrown around in this conversation. I'm just putting it out there.
Why?
Why are you the way that you are?
I actually
Another one.
didn't. Now that you're explaining the concept, I did watch that trailer. Forgot the name of it. So now that shows you my interest level at the moment. I did see it, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's a very like renowned series apparently. I mean, I've always heard they've been trying to make this for a while, so I kept hearing of the like so and so is going to be adapting this to screen, and it never worked out. Now they're doing a series, which is probably for the best. And with it being on FX, gives me hope that they'll do it justice. So yeah, I mean, production wise, it looked really good. I would definitely, if you haven't checked out the trailer, look it up.
Agreed.
So I'm interested.
Last trailer we'll talk about is the new Star Wars Visions trailer. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Basically, an anime Star Wars show. And it's kind of cool. It's there. You see in the trailer, you see there's a ton of different visual styles that they have. I guess it's several. Each
it's
episode
like
is kind of its own thing.
Yeah, it's more like an anthology type thing.
Yeah,
it's 9. I think it's 8 different anime.
8 or 9. Yeah, 8 or 9 different animation studios.
And I am absolutely stoked for this. I am all for it. I'm very excited. But I'm an anime fan.
Well,
I know Brandon is not an anime fan.
I also enjoyed the soundtrack behind it. I was like, oh yeah, just a little bit of dubsteppy Star Wars in the back. Notes to the classic. So,
Ryan, you gonna do any YouTube remixes? Wasn't that something that you did when you were in high school?
Oh yeah.
You made
like,
these little.
Like hey, don't hate. I used to do it too.
I
used to do it too.
And stuff. You know?
Yeah, your AMVs.
I did a ton of them to POD, Brandon. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
But any other Britt, Alan, your thoughts on this?
I enjoyed the trailer. That's that it piqued my interest. So we'll see what happens.
I'm interested because like it's being a lot of them are being dubbed. So there was a couple scenes in there that were subbed instead of dubbed, so it was still Japanese, but with captioning compared
I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it, dubbing something.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I've seen a ton of folks that are big name folks who are involved in it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, and I think what's going to happen, because there's different studios and everybody has their own style, there's probably going to be episodes you like and episodes you don't. Like Netflix did this with the whole robots, whatever that just came out, whatever it's called, like Love and whatever robots, and then the Animatrix, Love, Death, and Robots, and then you had the Animatrix back in the day kind of did this too, where every episode was a different style. So I think it'll be good. There's just going to be favorite ones and non-favorite.
Batman Gotham Knight, they did something similar.
So
yeah, it'll be fun. It's a lot of ways. It's kind of what we're talking about with What If. You kind of play episode by episode on completely different arena. Yeah. But anyways, this is your moment, Britt. We're going to talk a little bit.
Speaking of What If.
What If?
We're going to talk a little bit about this new What If series from Marvel.
Specifically,
everybody watched the first episode? Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Yep.
Good.
Sorry.
So,
watched it today.
Spoilers.
Hey guys,
What'd you
I'm
think?
gonna before you guys get going, I'm gonna have to step out. I got some stuff I gotta take care of before I go to work. But I enjoyed the first episode.
He's out of it.
Enjoyed the first episode. I enjoyed broad shoulder Peggy Carter and little tiny Steve Rogers. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So
he's a beast.
We'll see y'all boys next time.
Thanks for your review, Alan.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
See y'all.
Yeah, Brandon and I also loved it. Bye, Britt.
Everybody's out. Yeah. No, you got some other stuff here. We got the physical stuff and all that after this, so you got to stick around. But no, the thing is, I enjoyed where they started with it. To be honest, when they originally announced What If, the whole idea was every movie was going to get this What If treatment. So what if one thing changed in the movie? We went down an alternate timeline. Based on what some of the stuff that's come out, it doesn't look like we're like solely just going to go in chronological order or theatrical release order. We're kind of jumping all around, and we only got 9 episodes, and then we'll get, I think, 10 or 9 in season 2. But yeah, I like where they started. I think it was a good, safe place to start with the whole what if Peggy Carter, did the serum instead of Steve Rogers. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I know we kind of talked about this over text, but I want to see if they kind of get a little bit more of a rhythm with their like story. It just felt really rushed. A lot of things felt really rushed, and then there were like little segments where I was like, "Why are we spending time on this? Like, let's focus on stuff that feels rushed." It's something that I mentioned that DC's animated movies have just kind of fell into, like they've if they do one thing well, it's their animated films. When you can make a what should be a 2.5-hour movie feel like what it needs to feel like in 45 minutes or whatever. It's a tough task, but yeah, I'm interested to see how the show evolves in that sense. And I don't know how much overlap there was with like production teams episode to episode, or if it's completely like they were completely siloed projects or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of my main interest.
But yeah, and I think they were not necessarily siloed at a top level, right? I know they know what they were doing with the episodes, but I do think kind of like each person went and did their episode. Okay. I agree with you, and we were talking about exactly. It was like they took a 2-hour movie and did it in 30 minutes, and I know they tried to take all of the big nodes from First Avenger, and just kind of tried to say like, what are those big pieces that made that movie, and let's flip each of them. The part that I really loved about the series in general is it made me, which I haven't done it yet, but it made me go, I should probably go back and watch that movie. Because again, if I rate my MCU list, that movie, the first Captain America, is also low on my list. Like, there's
Yeah.
pieces of it I enjoyed, but it's not one of the top movies. And so there was a lot of these. I was like, okay, was that a direct node that I should have remembered? I should probably go back and check that out. But
Sure.
you know, I did like the humor with him where he's like, "Oh, you almost ripped my arm off," when Bucky said that, kind of
Yeah.
a node to, you know, she didn't
Winter
push the buttons
Soldier.
right. So,
Yeah.
but
Brandon, what do you think?
yeah.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I love like alternate timeline type stuff. So I do kind of agree that I kind of wish that it was maybe an hour long episode where they could have like dived a little deeper into the kind of the repercussions of this, like more of the like butterfly effect stuff. And I wonder how, like, so, I mean, is it just, I mean, maybe we don't even know this yet, but like, is it just like each episode is a one-off and then the next one is like nothing, there's no like continue, like Peggy Carter or Captain Carter won't pop up in any of the other stories because it's just,
So
these are just,
or
have they said that?
Well, they did hint at that this week. So I think it was this week or this weekend, where Captain Carter will come back and she's going to be one of the through threads through a lot. It doesn't mean she'll show up in every episode, and it may even just be something we see her in episode or season 2. But they did say she would be returning, and that's where they're wanting to focus some of the what if stuff on. So I don't know. I think because of that, we may see, potentially, we may even see her back in like the MCU when we start to get in these alternate realities, and they could bring her in as, you know, a Peggy Carter, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them doing that. Now that we're in the real MCU setting up multiverse type stuff. I mean, I love animation style. I've said that from the get-go. When they first released that very brief teaser on Disney Plus, right when Disney Plus launched, they had that like sizzle reel, and they showed a few like small little segments of this. I was like, I was sold on the animation style alone. And it's honestly one of the things that kept me from continuing other shows like Invincible, just because I just couldn't connect with the animation style. And I know, I get it. Okay, I'm sure it's great, but that's why I'm not interested in Visions. I don't enjoy the animation style. So, but this one I really do enjoy. I think it's really, at least at a very surface level, it's pretty to look at. But no, I thought it was good. It's not appointment TV, but it's something that's like small bite size, cool little, like, you know, what if this happened type, you know, stories. So
and I think, and kind of to your point and what James said right there, like, I think that's the thing with this episode, was there was nothing we were just like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe they did that. Like, it was pretty predictable in the sense that you know what the episode was, so you knew essentially what pretty much was going to happen, and you know, it's definitely cool to see.
It didn't really change a lot besides the fact that Peggy became Captain America. Like, basically the same stuff happened, which, you know, it would have been more interesting. I mean, I guess that's why I was thinking, like, it would have been interesting to see, like I said, the more butterfly effect stuff that comes of this one thing changes, and it just messes with everything.
Did you guys find it distracting at all as you were watching this? Like trying to like hear, like, okay, that was the original actor. This is not the original actor. Like, that was like kind of distracting.
To a degree.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be in a couple episodes that are that way. I mean, this one was definitely with Chris Evans, and then Robert Downey Jr. is also not coming back for the Iron Man episode. So there's a few, but there's definitely a lot of actors that returned. So like next episode, we have Chadwick Boseman actually being there, you know, doing his essentially last role with the MCU. We've got Michael Rooker coming back as Yondu and stuff. So I think we're definitely it won't be as distracting in the future. But yeah, I was kind of like bummed in a way, because when they originally announced What If, it was this whole thing of we're getting the entire original cast back, we're going to throw money into it, and then literally like the three big OGs, because I know it's Chris, Robert Downey Jr., and there's one other. It may have actually be
Batista's not
just talking about earlier.
Drax.
Yeah, Drax is not the same, and then Scarlett Johansson is not Black Widow. So I mean, that could have been after the fact.
She probably was Brit, and then they just dubbed over her, right?
Yeah. They're just like, change it. It's not out yet. But yeah, so there's a few there, and again, that's probably all contract stuff, right? Like some of these people had, like Sebastian Stan had like 9 movies on his contract or something, and we haven't even got close to that yet. Whereas, you know, Chris Evans and Robert Downey, I mean, you saw how much the last time they had to get Robert Downey Jr. back, it was a lot of money. So, you know, but we'll see. Yeah.
Right on. No, it'll be fun. I'm interested to see.
Well, new episode is Wednesday drops, right?
Yep.
So tomorrow.
So every Wednesday is when they drop. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things I watch it at lunch. If I have work calls and I can't do it at lunchtime, I'll watch it at night. It's kind of to your point, Brandon. It's watch it when you get there. It's not like I have to go see it at midnight and make sure people don't spoil it, things like that.
Sure. So here's a question. This may be a dumb question, but it's a grammatical question coming from me. So take that for what it is. The title of this episode is "What If Captain Carter Were the First Avenger?" Is that grammatically correct?
That's a good question, actually.
I assume so, but I don't know.
Is my head?
I think you're actually correct there. I think "was" is the singular.
That's what I thought, but I was like, maybe.
Look at you, Brandon.
Maybe this is just another Brandon moment where he doesn't know how to spell or write things.
No, Guzman's a Brandon moment.
Maybe Avenger, like multiple Avengers, really isn't with an S.
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, I guess if maybe they think Captain Carter is an entity, like a more of an ideal, like idealistic thing.
Yeah,
maybe they can. It's like a plural or something. I don't know.
The one thing I think would have been really cool is if they didn't spoil the Hydra Stomper, and they didn't spoil that, you know, he ends up getting that suit because he's not Captain America. Like, I think that would have been an awesome, like, oh my gosh moment. But it was spoiled way back, like you said, Brendan, when Disney Plus came out. We had already seen a clip of her riding on top of the suit or whatever. But yeah, I think that could have been a cool moment.
I didn't remember that.
Well, and even all the trailers leading up to the episode coming out, they kept showing they had the whole like mini clip of him flying across. But
yeah, indeed.
Well,
let's talk about what's coming out, because we've got a.
Well, let's not do that yet. Let's talk about. Did anybody get any cool physical media or collectibles or anything?
Yeah, look. I got one.
Nice. What is it?
Boom. It's Kingpin that is venomized.
Nice.
That came from the Funko online shop.
Nice.
So I've got pretty much all of the venomized stuff when it comes to the pops. So
is that like tied to the first Venom movie or new? Or Venom
no,
2?
it's just I mean, it's just new in general. They had like a line where they were coming out where every character's got venomized. So you have like Black Panther, Loki.
Yeah, I guess I have seen that.
And yeah. So this was one that was only in the Funko shop to get it online, and was able to get that one. I've missed out on a few, and they had the Blacklight ones. Like I did get the Blacklight Spider-Man. But the Venom like came and gone at Target, and now they're like $150. And then the Carnage was only on the Funko shop, and they're like $250. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to spend that on one of those guys ever. So, but yeah,
I got this guy, Deadpool on vinyl.
Nice.
Excited about it. It's very very pretty vinyl. Probably my favorite that I've gotten so far.
X gonna give it to you.
Very cool.
R.I.P. DMX.
R.I.P.
I was gonna say I haven't like actually listened to that soundtrack. Like I've went
very
back and listened to
strong.
like
It's very
well,
strong.
like I've listened to Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, a few of those like different, Luke Cage soundtrack and stuff like that. But I haven't actually gone back to listen to Deadpool. I remember there's lots of good tracks throughout, but
because it's so like every time a song comes on, the whole soundtrack's so sarcastic. That's what's so great about it. But yeah,
so
that's what I got. That's all I got.
I got
anything?
a few things, but I don't have them down here, so I have to remember to bring them to the next episode.
You had your Prince procure your Justice League.
They
Prince.
should, yeah. Well, I'll talk about, they haven't got here yet, but I'll definitely, I don't think I'm going to take them out until the actual complimentary print gets put out. So I'm just going to keep them packed because they go together. So I'm not going to hang them until I have the other piece.
Why? You hung that empty poster frame up on the wall for a year.
I know, and you know how torturing that was for me. I'm not doing it to myself again.
Just put an empty poster up, but then just like draw, like get Luna to draw Batman on it in the glass.
Yeah.
And just erase it.
Yeah. Well,
I did get one other thing because we're talking about artwork. I got the other Funko Pop here, which is, it's hard to see, but it's a Spider-Man. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man like art one. And I got it from GameStop. They mailed it to me. It's broken. So the head's broken. And then so I sent it back. Well, I emailed them. They're like, all right, we'll send you another one, like free charge, whatever. Got the other one in.
Broken.
It's broken too. Like, so now you guys
broken.
Like the heads are detached on both of them. So a little bit of hot glue for this one for display purposes, but I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool just because it's like graffiti, whatever art on there.
Nice.
So
cool.
But it's cool. Yeah.
Still,
what's up, Josh?
Still getting the Spidey pops.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've sold pretty much all the rest of the collection. Like I sold probably 250 pops over the last year or so. It's probably still well over 100, but it's all Spider-Man. So it's only Spider-Man. Everything else is gone. Up in like the little theater loft area, it goes around 3 walls. So we're about to start on the 4th wall.
This was a gift from Britt.
Yeah.
Took it out of the box.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That one's, no, you took it out of the box.
All mine are out of the box. It's good. It's good.
Take them out of the box. Put it on display. I'm not one of those people.
It was a joke, man. I got a statue right behind me out of the box. It's blurred out. Spider-Man 2. We both got Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah. You'll have to see. You'll have to see. That one was like $45-50 when I gave to you. It's probably up even further than that now. So
I got this one.
Josh is right there with you.
This guy I know was worth like what 175 or something at one point.
Yeah, it may even be more now. Just trying to sell it a little bit.
Brandon's like in his mind, he's like, okay, how much is that Gimli Iron Studios stuff?
Yeah. Trade a Gandalf for a Gimli.
All right, let's talk some movies that are coming soon here, and then we will wrap up. We got Shang-Chi coming in hot here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then Venom Let There Be Carnage, which got moved back, unfortunately. And then Eternals. So, of these 3, which are for both of you? Britt, you go first. Which of these are you most excited for?
Probably Shang-Chi. I think one of those things like we already talked about Venom, but Eternals, I want to like it, but with as many big names in it, I got to see it when it comes out. Like I don't know. It's going to be hard to split your screen time, and I'm not invested in them at the moment, but I know that whatever they do is going to be interesting with them, just with world setting and world building for our next phase. Right. So
that's another, not very excited about it, but I know it's going to be good. Brit answer.
Yeah.
Brandon, it's weird. I'm ready for them to get to X-Men and the X-Men universe and Fantastic Four and the other characters in Phase 5.
I'm super excited for Hugh Jackman to rejoin too, Brett. He's super excited for it. I'm just willing it into existence.
Rumors, man.
Yeah. Brandon?
Honestly, for me, Eternals. I would have probably said Venom if I hadn't saw the trailers. So
gotcha.
The trailers have lessened my enthusiasm, which is the opposite of what Eternals did. I saw the trailer and I was like, man, this actually looks good. Just on a production standpoint, it looks really beautiful, which is not something that I often say. Not that Marvel movies are ugly, but they just don't have as cinematic of a feel to them. This one seems to be very filmmaker driven, tone wise and aesthetic wise. And I'm for it. So
right on. Yeah, that is what I'm most excited for with that movie. Last week I probably would have said Venom. Again, like you kind of, I guess, was not a huge fan of the last trailer. Still excited for it. Very curious to see if this kind of does some Sonyverse building. That's probably my main driver for this movie, just because I really want to see them get that ball rolling. But I'd probably pick Shang-Chi. I'm actually pretty surprised with the kind of like what Brandon said. Not that Marvel movies graphically or any visually are not stellar. Like especially Infinity War and Endgame are great. Some of the one-off movies tend to be a little weaker, but I've been pretty impressed with all of the trailers and stuff I've seen for Shang-Chi. So I'll say it. I'm excited to see this one. So I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Well, there you have it. So, I'm assuming you two will see Shang-Chi. I can't say that I will see it initially because it will require me to get out of my house to go to
we'll let you know
to see it.
I'll let you know, Brandon. Britt's gonna love it.
Yeah.
I'm again the Black Widow situation though. That came out of left.
Maybe.
So
the Abomination Wong fight scene. That's what hooked me in the trailer. Prior to that, the trailer was kind of like, oh, it'd be pretty cool fighting movie, whatever. But I think that scene alone was like, okay, we're sold. We're on board.
And for me, it's not necessarily like I don't think it looks bad. I'm just not motivated to get out and go see it. I want to see it. Like if it was available VOD, I'd purchase it and watch it. I just it takes a lot of like with a kid. Like I have to get a babysitter and have to do all that. I'm like I just don't. I'll watch it when it comes out on Blu-ray or something. So,
what do you guys think of this question? Chances of a Spider-Man mention or appearance in Venom? Yes or no?
Nah, not this early.
In Venom, I'd say I'm gonna say 50% chance at this moment.
I think
there'll be.
There may be a post-credit scene where he's mentioned or something.
Yeah,
you think they're gonna do that prior to No Way Home? Like I could see it being something they go and record, which he should be in Morbius, right? Like we've already got the poster.
The poster behind him in Morbius.
Yeah. So
it's a Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like they didn't do it in the first one just because of all the contract stuff. I feel like with this one, they may have like a joke towards something, but I don't think he'll be directly referenced. Maybe to your point, Brandon, maybe in after the credits, if they're really planning on doing a whole bunch of stuff together, or if again, they did, was it somebody from the Morbius movie said that Venom's going to be showing up in the movie. So I guess they could, but I think most likely we'll get something with a after credit kind of pointing to that series. Or
it's so crazy that we haven't. I just forgot that Morbius hasn't come out. Like that trailer came out so long ago.
They just keep pushing it. I don't. And my question is like, why are they pushing it? Is it because I could have swore at this point they've already filmed it. They should be done with it. Like,
yeah.
It filmed before Venom.
Yeah.
And now they push Venom back, 2 weeks or whatever. Like, do you think that being pushed back is Well, I'm wondering, like, do you think it's just the issue with people not going to theaters and they don't want to lose out on money? Because like Sony doesn't really have a place like an HBO Max or Disney Plus to put it out there.
Not their own, but they do have a deal with Netflix because they put some animated stuff out there. They did the Mitchells and the Machine, Mitchells versus the Machines. They just put Vivo out on last week, but
I just couldn't imagine they would want to lose that much money.
No, they won't. That's because that's their
tempo
stuff. But
I hope that we don't see like the fatigue that set in with Wonder Woman and Black Widow. Like everybody was just like, just release them. I don't even care.
No. I think if they push it into next year, it's gonna suffer. Just in general.
It seems like nobody even knows about Morbius.
Like, oh yeah, that movie,
right?
And I feel like that had more hype because we saw Michael Keaton and some of those guys already returning in that one. So yeah, I don't know.
All right, gentlemen. Before we wrap up here, I'll go ahead and throw up the.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm.
Brandon's so proud of that one. I love it. Hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. Notification bell so you can stay up to date on everything we got going on. Give us a follow on Twitter at CapeCast Show. And we also have Patreon. That's patreon.com/CinemachinePod. We appreciate any support that we get there. And Britt, you want to plug anything?
Yeah. So from my side, we've got the Twitch you can go to. So twitch.tv/defaultdan. And we got Disney Fights season 2. So if you guys check these guys out on season 1, we're coming back.
NASCAR driver. You got them
all. So we got Disney.
What would it cost for Cinema Machine to buy a little piece of?
I know. I don't know if there's any room, but get a little sliver.
Put you on there.
Like the tier price point. Get it a little bitty.
Yeah, we'll put you. Let's see. We'll put you up in this little corner right over
there.
Here.
It is, right there. Yeah.
But no, like so we got season 2 kicking off second week in September. So we've got 8 episodes that are themed episodes, and so this is what the themes are. We're gonna have things from like Disney Channel, Star Wars, MCU. So we are branching out a little bit to do a Star Wars episode and an MCU episode this time around. But we got that going on starting, I think, the 16th. Awesome. I'm going to just double check, but we'll have 13th. So 13th will be the first episode of season 2 every Monday. We're going to be doing that. Ton of fun. That's probably the most enjoyable thing on my stream. If you guys want to check it out, but we'll have you guys back on for maybe season 3. Nice. And we'll get you going again. Cause I know you guys enjoyed it, and maybe we can get Alan and Chris and those guys coming back, and I don't know, maybe we'll branch out and we'll do a Marvel versus DC episode or something.
Oh boy.
We'll get you guys on one corner.
I'm in.
We'll see.
I'm in.
As long as it's a specific section of that DC.
We've got the birds of prey
that we have to defend.
Maybe we'll have some fun. Maybe we'll plan a CapeCast episode where it is just solely DC. And we'll branch it off. I'll put some duct tape over the Disney word. We'll put over here, wherever. We'll put some duct tape over it. We'll write DC fights or something like that, and we'll have an episode over here, hosted over here, and be a ton of fun.
Let's do it.
Cross-platform. I like it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely go check out his Twitch channel. It's cool. If you love anything Disney, they've got it covered. Believe me, I was embarrassed in season 1 of Disney Fights.
Yep. Yeah. And we actually have Mackie hanging out. Just to let you know, Mackie hanging out. He's actually going to be on one of the episodes this season.
Nice.
So, yes, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. All right, Britt, we got to get you back here more often. Maybe we've got Marvel stuff coming up here. What if episodes? So you'll be incentivized to hop.
Oh yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll make it work.
Cool. All right, gentlemen, without further ado, later on.
See you.
All right.